So I would next like to ask Vielta from Ukraine.
Hello, everyone. I have my presentation. Okay, it works. So some disclosure that this work is being conducted under the HCV combination prevention in people who use drugs and prisoners project, which is led by PATH and funded by UNITAID. Something about backgrounds, main trends among people who use drugs, who inject drugs in Ukraine since 2015. It was liquid opium extract, homemade poppy drugs named as Shirka. After this, it was street methadone, and also use of non-prescribed methadones from OAT patients distributed, and also stimulants use we have in Ukraine, and we have increased about this using by almost half between 2017 and 2023, and for now it is most common thing as poly using of different drugs as stimulants and opioids with some medications. Okay, can you please? Thank you so much, because my vision is not so good. Okay, about focus group discussions. We have these focus group discussions in 2 cities in Ukraine. It is Sumy and Lviv. It was 3-day sessions in each on January 2025. It was 47 people and it was only not many women. You see that most of participants of focus group discussions, there were males. And we have, when we see on results, we have some differences between Sumy and Lviv, because participants from Sumy, they have not problems with access to needles and syringes on sites, because Sumy is really very progressive. We have a drug consumption room, for example, in Sumy, so they have all these supplies. But situation in Lviv was more difficult, access to needles and syringes was less stable, and forcing some participants to use pharmacies where financial stigma barriers also. And common challenges for these 2 sites, concerns among OAT clients about receiving syringes due to the risk of losing access to treatment program, because if doctors can see that you get the needles and syringes, doctors can just punish you by treatment. We have these stigmatized practices in Ukraine. And also common challenges about insufficient number of syringes for distribution and inconvenient access point schedule, which especially affects residents of remote areas also. And other results, I want to share about key factors of reuse. It is limited numbers of needles and syringes issued at harm reduction sites in Lviv and Sumy, because we have now some state protocols about harm reduction programs and limited number to share to 1 client of needles and syringes, and it is also a gap in Ukraine for us. Financial difficulty for paying for these supplies at pharmacies, and also pharmacies did not work in night now because of the war situation in Ukraine, and sometimes doctors can just say no and did not sell sell you needles and syringes because sometimes they think that in this way they can prevention of drug using to people. It's not logical, but yeah, we have these cases. And reuse habits have been formed, particularly among people who have been in prison. And also we have some stereotypes as common reasons for sharing needles. Believe that needles and syringes exchange is safe between people with the same HIV status, for example, and also use of other people's syringes in a state of urgent need or in conditions that make it impossible to be more safety. And also about consequences, despite awareness of the risk of HIV hepatitis, reuse and sharing of tools remains a common practice, unfortunately, in Ukraine, and this makes it difficult to change the sharing practices when introducing new safer needles and syringes, including our supplies with loaded space, especially when access to these supplies is unstable. And what was first impression of LDSS? Most participants in SUME had no awareness or experience with these supplies before this, so it was a new experience and new information for them. And this information mainly came from social workers or other people who use drugs who had such experience. And main observations from focus group discussions about needles and their size, that thinner needles reduce the risk of injury, thicker needles allow the substance to be injected faster, needle sharpness is a universal requirement. Also about syringe size, the most popular syringes in Ukraine are large volume syringes as 20 milligram, especially among participants who use solutions in large doses or mix and cook some cocktails. And quality of materials, faulty piston or blunt needle makes injection difficult and hazardous. Origin of syringes and brands, most participants in Ukraine trust BD brand syringes. Also, sometimes cases of defects have been recorded. And separate needles and syringes, flexibility in the choice of components, so the ability to replace the needles is considered an important characteristic and is an advantage for most participants because we have not good quality of drugs in Ukraine and many people have troubles with their veins, so to change needles with one syringe, it is really good thing. Okay, and you see argument in favor of LDSS and against for doubt. If we say about positive arguments, it's about safety, reducing injection risk for the client and for the others in case of accidental contact, full use of the substance, minimization of residues and no wasted drugs left over in the dead space, practicality, fixed needle, river piston, ease of use, and interest in innovation and new things. And if you see about arguments against, skepticism about the design and inconvenience of the new models, no noticeable difference in the effect of use, difficulty cleaning, especially in reuse, and economic factors, including price, availability, individual needs. And you see some quotes, and if you see you see positive quotes, I like it. The needle is so cool. If they are not thrown away but accumulate, they are multicolored. This is good to understand where your own are, or even if they accumulated and are not thrown away, insulin, so that you understand where is whose. And about quote against, look, I was surprised that the needle is separate from the syringe. I think it's quite uncomfortable. And also second quote, there's nowhere to wash it. It's bad to wash. So we have different opinions and it is good, I think. And some more Impressions, overall it's safer the thinner the needle and syringe. During injection, the most important thing is the smaller the syringe needle diameter of the needle, the safer the injection. Also, other quote, for me, the main thing is the capacity of the bayan, it is syringe in Ukrainian slang, not the bayan itself. It's important, of course, it's necessary to reduce the risk of injection. I always wash syringes and have big trash bins, but probably the less blood remains, the less it needs to be washed. Really so logical. And as for me, the syringe is a dream. With rubber piston, the last time I saw a syringe of this type was back in the 2000s, and they were sold only in one pharmacy there. For me, everything is fine here, everything is fine. So positive feedback. And conclusions, it is my last slide. The initial reaction of focus group discussions participants to low-dose space syringes and needles was generally positive. So yeah, you see some negative quotes, but generally it was positive. However, many participants emphasized that before drawing conclusions, it would be necessary to try these new needles and syringes in practice. This is planned for the study phase 2 pilot and phase 3 distribution program. For widespread LDSSN use, products need to be available at harm reduction points and pharmacies. There was some skepticism about whether consumers would be willing to change their existing habits, as change the injection site, reuse injection products less frequently, and others. So I think it was a really powerful experience with focus group discussions, and I think it's really important that in the war situation we have this Unit 8 project, and we can increase the services and safety practices, and our people who use drugs, our participants in focus group discussions, as you see, they are ready to this changing. So we hope that we will have more best results after phase 2 and phase 3. Thank you. And questions, not questions, we have. Thank you.